The man was dragged deep into a cave by vampires, but he didn't die. The vampire queen, seeing his extraordinary physique, transformed him with her blood into a new kind of vampire, a human who wasn't afraid of sunlight. The vampire kidnapped Lucy to lure John out and force him to undergo the queen's transformation as well. John charged at the leader without hesitation, and the two engaged in a fierce battle. However, Roy's strength had greatly increased after the transformation, and John was no match for him. Roy punched him towards the train, but instead of falling, he secretly sneaked into a carriage from underneath. He encountered the sheriff, who had also entered the carriage, but they were attacked by vampires. Seeing a large number of vampires converging on them, the sheriff immediately fired, breaking the roof and using the sunlight to block the vampires. They continued their search and finally found Lucy in a carriage. However, Roy suddenly jumped into the carriage, blocking the two, and kicking the sheriff off the train. John was also pinned to the carriage with a dagger. A fire was lit on the carpet beneath John's feet, and then Roy, carrying Lucy, leaped onto the roof. Meanwhile, Katie had strapped all the explosives to the war machine. John, inside the train, painfully pulled out his dagger. Lucy, defenseless against Roy, was about to bite him when John arrived just in time, stopping him with his cross-shaped dagger. Lucy was pushed off the train, but John leaped down and caught him. At that moment, Katie arrived in her chariot. As the chariot collided, all the vampires on board were reduced to ashes. When everything settled, Lucy realized that John was her biological father. John had been conscripted as a vampire hunter, leaving his wife and newborn daughter in his brother's care. Now that his brother was dead and he had left the church, father and daughter were finally reunited. John then rushed back to the holy city and threw the vampire's head before the bishop. He told everyone that the vampire queen had awakened and they would surely return. However, the bishop still insisted there were no vampires and considered John a dangerous element. John, utterly disillusioned with the church, decided to leave. He and Katie separately gathered vampire hunters from other cities to prepare for the ultimate showdown with the vampire queen.